I haven't heard of any damage in the county. Of course, wind speeds were getting up there not too long ago, but right now it seems that we have a lull in the storms, and, you know, we're just asking people to drive safely on the roads.
All right, and I know some people are losing power, dealing with that over in Lexington County as well. Harrison, from your days as a newspaper reporter to this, I know you've had to go out and cover this kind of thing before, and one thing that we always tell people is if they can stay within their business or within the walls of their home, you know, that's best. What are folks in Lexington County doing? Because I know, like, especially the students, they had early dismissal today. Hopefully people aren't out and about. Does it kind of feel like a ghost town there? Give me a feel of what the sensation is there.
Well, it still seems like a normal daily life here in the town of Lexington, which is where the county administration building is located. People are still going about their day relatively normally. We just, again, urge that they drive safely. If you have your windshield wipers on, you should totally have your headlights on as well. So right now it looks pretty normal, and we're going to continue to monitor the storm as it progresses through the day, and that's about all I can say right now.
You know, Harrison, good advice on the headlights. I'm amazed when I came in today and it was pouring rain, how many people, if their lights don't automatically come on, how many forget to turn them on. So that's a good reminder to them. And we're not in the clear yet. As Harrison, you know, our meteorologists have been saying, this is one of the rounds, but there are several more expected. So let's finish out our interview with you, just giving a word of caution to your folks in Lexington County.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we said, we're going to continue to monitor these storms throughout the day. The county administration and government offices have been closed for the remainder of the day. We close at about 2 p.m., so we're going to continue that closure. We're going to continue to monitor these storms as they roll through. And again, just a word of caution is all we can say to our viewers at home that live here in the county and, you know what, elsewhere in the Midlands. If you don't have to leave your home, don't do it. If you see standing water, turn around, don't drown. If you have your windshield wipers on, make sure you have your headlights on.
Okay, Harrison Cahill, the PIO for Lexington County, great to talk to you as always, and thanks for that information from Lexington County. We'll check in with you again later.
Y'all stay safe.
You as well, thank you. All right, we want to go to Newberry County and see some of the things happening there. Allie Spilliards is surveying that area to see how they're faring. Allie?
Hey everyone, we're in Newberry County right now. We've been watching the situation here, and we were actually over at the 911 center earlier when that first thunderstorm warning came through. It was originally until 1:30 for everyone in this area. Now it's been extended to 2:30. We're also under a tornado watch until 8. But I can tell you for right now, things here are looking a little clearer. I'm going to flip you. Well, I can't flip you around, but I can come show you what we're looking at here. Mostly just some puddling in the roads. We did get a really heavy downpour for a bit. I heard some people near Newberry College saying that it actually sounded like possibly some hail. We haven't had any reports of that, but we are in touch with the sheriff's office, keeping up with what they're hearing. And so far, just a few areas of standing water, but especially after that storm passed through Union County, causing a lot of damage near Whitmire. I know people are very nervous, but just stay tuned and we will keep you updated as soon as we have any new information about what's going on here.
Thank you so much. We need to go right back to our meteorologist. Tim Miller has a new tornado warning that has just been issued. Tim?
Donnie, this is for Richland County. Here it is, a tornado warning in effect till 3:30 for this area here, Hopkins and Eastover. Again, this is a tornado warning. This means that a tornado has been spotted by radar and has issued a tornado warning. Again, if Hopkins would be in this is eastern Richland County and then the Eastover. So it's this little sliver here of Richland County, not the entire county now, just this little area here. So give you an idea of, do you live in this area here? If you can pinpoint, know exactly, there's the fort. There's Hopkins, there's Eastover, again, and that's until 3:30. Let's zoom in here, and my feeling is it's this particular cell right in here that's the question. To me, that would be the tornadic view. It's that little curved where we have the winds whooshing into the storm here, and then you develop a spin. So my feeling, that's where the tornadic storm would be, and that's smack dab over Hopkins. This is racing off towards the east, so there's Horror Hill, there's McIntyre, There's Eastover. So as this continues to move off towards the east, Eastover, you'd be under the gun here with that in just a little bit. And Horror Hill, you're not under the gun either. This here, I would surmise, is some pretty damaging winds with this, and also surmise there's some mighty big hail in this particular cell here. But look at that. That's my fear here, is that would be the tornadic cell as it's racing off towards the east. So once again, I'll show you the tornado warning area. This is the warning area. Notice how it's just a little sliver. I mean, now we can pinpoint pretty much where this is. So Eastover, I would imagine it's going to be, it's the next 10, 15 minutes, that particular cell, or if not sooner, will be over you. But right now it's over Hopkins. Take cover immediately. If you are in the Hopkins area and viewing this right now, leave the television and head for safety. All right, so here is that particular cell right in there. All right, and again, that is racing off towards the east at some 50 miles per hour. Again, that tornado warning in effect till 3:30 for that particular area. Once you get past Eastover, it's done. So, again, that particular cell is the one that we're concerned about, where that has a tornadic probability at this point. All right, so that's the latest. Now, I want to go back here and show you a couple things. Let me get out of the way and just show you a broader perspective of what we're looking at. Again, that's that tornadic cell, and I'm going to sort of zoom out here to show you the wider view here. And yeah, look at that. I mean, that's the thing that I'm most concerned about here, is right in here. Whenever we have that, what a potential is to be like a little hook in the atmosphere, that's where we have winds that conceivably are tornadic in nature and actually can have a tornadic cell. I'll put it into a looping mode here. You can see, man, that's just impressive. Let's go further out, and I'll show you this. Notice we have more storms blowing up here. This is Edgefield and Saluda. I'll put it in the now view here. This is our high-res radar. So Batesburg, Leesville, remember you had your storms? Guess what? There's more coming, as promised. So we have decent cells south of you. There's more over Edgefield. This is racing off towards the east-northeast. So once again, it'll be Batesburg. And before too long, Lexington, Gilbert, and once again, these two will be in the city before too long. But right now, it's this particular area here of Hopkins. And now notice how it's moved off towards the east. So McIntyre, this is headed towards you, Eastover. This will be the cell that we're most concerned about, hence to have our tornado warning. There's our tornado warning once again. It's right here until 3:30 for this little sliver of Richland County. Notice it's not the whole county. It's this particular area here. I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit closer, give you an idea with some roads here with this. So there it is. That's a great indication. The red that you see is that tornado warning. So that's Highway 378, as if you're headed towards Sumter. There's South Carolina 76, Highway 378, there's 601, there's 48. Give you an idea what we're looking at there as far as some of the roadways, what we're talking about. So if you're in that particular area, that's sort of a rural area of Richland County, by all means take cover immediately. Vaughn, are you looking at anything that we could shoot your way?
Absolutely. We could go ahead and move on back over here to our velocity. Of course, when you look at the velocity, sometimes you'll see us showing the red and the green. It's when wind is moving towards or away from the radar. But the big thing is it takes out the storm motion when you're looking at the storm relative, the base velocity. The storm relative velocity also puts in the storm motion along with the wind speeds in there. So pretty complicated, but basically you want to look inside that storm to figure out what those winds are doing. And as we look at this, that tornado warning is right over Hopkins. So if you're watching us from that area, you certainly need to make sure you take cover. But look at where the sign is for 48. I want you to look at that area pretty closely. So I advance it here. And we go back to our velocity. Look at how you see that very high velocity there that's in place just south of Hopkins, that same area where we're seeing not a very tight couplet, but we do possibly have some rotation in there. It's that same area. We continue to see almost that red starting to show up to a white color. It's not a tight couplet. It appears to be a very broad area of rotation, but it is certainly in that area. So we're going to continue to watch that area because that tornado warning continues for us. So we'll be watching that. But I also want to go ahead and show you, as we're looking at that area, we could go ahead and closer and look at the lightning that's also in there. Also, we have the lightning. So as we look up towards the top end of that storm, towards Camden, Rembert, all of these areas now dealing with the very heavy rain and the gusty wind. In addition to that, areas near Fort Jackson, Horror Hill, this is where we're possibly seeing that tornado at this hour. And if you kind of see that inflow notch, it doesn't really mean a lot to you, but that's just the area that's literally pulling in that warm, moist, unstable air. Dew points at this point extremely high. That's literally like fuel for the fire. So dew points in that area probably around 70. That's extremely high. That's exactly what a severe storm would like. That works perfectly for severe weather. And guess what? It's even higher as we go down to the south of where we are. You can see some really, really high dew points in and around that area. And that's the section that's moving in out of Georgia, and it'll continue to lift into South Carolina here over the next few minutes. Something that we haven't really talked about, a few other parameters here. If you're driving in Lexington, Saluda, your visibility is reduced. If you're driving through this heavy rain, less than a quarter-mile visibility in place for you in those areas. So those are the areas that you need to certainly be mindful. Hopefully you're just not driving. So what about wind speeds? We haven't seen a whole lot on wind speeds and wind gusts. Want to go ahead and get you caught up on those right now. So far, I've seen the highest wind gusts now coming in from the Lexington County area. Remember earlier, we showed you that there was a 68-mile-per-hour wind gust that was reported at the airport. We're now seeing coming in from our system at least an 18-mile-per-hour wind gust in that area. 21 in Newberry, 22 there in Saluda, and about 22 also in Aiken. Notice the wind in that section coming in out of the north, and this is where that big storm system is now, about 13 miles per hour for Lexington, certainly not 5 in Columbia. These are the sustained wind speeds right now, just not picking up those extremely high numbers in terms of wind gusts. So we're back on our dew points. All of the areas, wherever you have a dew point more than 55 or so, that is extremely humid. That is air that's perfect to fuel severe storms. Notice north, Orangeburg, near 70-degree dew points, and then you see the deeper green down near Georgia. This is all going to continue to lift up to the north. So parameters that you look at when you're forecasting a storm. I want to just quickly show you our 3D radar. I know it doesn't really look like much to you, probably looks like a bunch of mountains, but you see the red area that's here? This is our 3D radar, just giving us an indication that the stronger storms, or that severe line, is much higher and reaching higher in the atmosphere than some of the storms that you see back behind it. They're not coming up severe. So you can see how much higher these storm tops are for the storms that have gone severe, even the ones that are starting to bow out in front of it over towards Bowman. Not severe, but the thing about those storms is they get that really warm, moist air. It's uninhibited. No one else has basically touched this air, so they get that ripe, warm, moist air, and they get it out ahead of that. So that's why it's not out of the question to, even though we have the biggest storm system back here, some of those storm systems that are coming up from the south, they're getting that ripe, moist air that's perfect for strong storm development. So I'll be watching those areas as well. Now back to our tornado warning. Again, we're watching this area. Again, you see that the green area is moving towards the radar. The red is away. And so as we look at this lighter peak in here, if it was all a deeper red, we would have an indication that we're not really seeing anything. It's pretty much normal and standard. I do believe there is a wide or a broad circulation. Notice we just got that update. And so we're not seeing a tight couplet here. Not necessarily a tight couplet, but there is some sort of rotation coming in there. So that's the area that we'll be watching for, that possibility of seeing rotation in that storm. So that tornado warning continues for us. Lightning, still a heavy presence in and around that area that is severe right now. So here's our lightning tracker that's on here. All of those areas taking you in closer now. Getting a lot of comments on Facebook about particular areas. So I want to make sure that we go in a bit closer there. So Camden, we haven't talked a whole lot about your area, but you are seeing some heavy rain. The wind starting to now inch on up into you and eventually on over into North Carolina, into the border that way. And then as we look a bit more to the south, that's where that severe storm is. Look at all the lightning that it's detecting. Detecting plenty of lightning, very high reflectivity. As we look at some of the video, you can see how some of the water is starting to pool on the roads. Of course, we're starting to approach 3 inches of rain in some of these areas. So it's not out of the question for us to see some localized flooding in some of these areas. Of course, with gusty wind, it's not out of the question to lose a couple tree branches here and there as well. Last time I checked in with the desk, I guess they had about 1,000 power outages in Lexington County and about 1,300 in Edgefield County, Sam, if I'm correct on that. So yeah, it was something like that. County's about 1,000 outages or so, not out of the question, probably from a tree limb or two that's down, because with the gusty wind, with the lightning, that's certainly not out of the question. Earlier on, I also heard about some fires being started because of lightning in the Atlanta area once we got the onslaught of the severe storms in the south. So the bigger picture shows this will continue. You see how we still see the showers and strong storms beginning to move out of Georgia and into South Carolina? Well, this will be a continuation for us into the afternoon hours. I guess we've been on now well over an hour or so, and we've been seeing the same thing. And a lot of times we like to say, well, if the storm holds together, it'll make it into your neighborhood. Based on what we're seeing now, it will hold together. We're in a rare situation where we have a high risk of severe storms. Rarely do you see this. The last time we saw this, we did have a strong EF2 tornado that hit in Branchville. That was in 2008. And I think that was about March 15th or so in 2008. Look at I-20 now, a terrible place to be, from Red Bank all the way down. If we're trying to get to Batesburg, Leesville, or perhaps down to Aiken, that area is going to be a mess. We are looking at very, very high reflectivity there, which means there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of rain, and possibly even some small hail that's showing up in there. We got any updates coming in from the desk? Any other storm reports? Yeah.
Law enforcement in reporting a tornado in Saluda near Aiken County.
Okay, quite possibly, quite possibly. If you remember, earlier on, we were, actually I can't do that right now, but earlier on, Saluda County was one of the first counties that we saw that storm system started to move through, and that's when they invoked that tornado warning. That was the first one of the day. I guess that came in about 1 o'clock, so not surprised that they would possibly be seeing some damage there. What I also have here coming into my system, what we call local storm reports. So if law enforcement reports, yeah, it's showing up on my system too, by the way, guys. Here it is. As we look at that, it's showing up right there, the possibility of a tornado in there from the local storm reports. So you see that red area showing us that funnel cloud? Well, yeah, it's showing us that is the possibility of that tornado. Hail been reported north of Batesburg, Leesville, and then thunderstorm wind damage also reported in parts of Saluda. I think we were on air when that was going on, so that's something I'm not really surprised to see happen, because I'm sure they're getting several reports of thunderstorm wind damage. And of course, when you look at the certain damage pattern, that would tell you exactly whether or not you have seen a tornado. So this is coming in from Monetta. Probably near the Big Mo out there. A tornado possible. Aiken County, the sheriff has reported this, and that's in Monetta, and there are several trees down. This all came in at 1:35. I think that's about when we first got started here this afternoon, right, guys? I guess we were on air at that time. But in addition to that, that area also seeing several reports of thunderstorm wind damage. We're still in first alert mode. We're still watching this tornado warning as it continues over near Hopkins. Is that still going on, folks? Are we still getting any damage reports from that area yet out in Richland County? See if we can get some new information. Okay.
Yeah, while you're doing that, let's go back to our tornado warning. We still have a tornado warning that's in effect until 3:30 for this little sliver of Richland County. Give you an idea of what we're looking at as far as there's a base velocity that we often look at. Let's get to our radar here, and I'll show you in our Max 2. And I'll show you this. This is our tornado warning here against that little sliver for Richland County. And it's moving now more